The Galactic Council chamber was filled with panic. Representatives from 47 different worlds sat around the massive circular table. Their faces showed fear. Some were shaking. Others were making distressed sounds in their native languages. Ambassador Trell stood at the center podium. His three eyes blinked rapidly. This was a bad sign for his species. It meant he was extremely worried. The vagrant swarm has destroyed Kepler Station, Trell announced. His voice translator made his words sound mechanical. 7,000 beings are dead. The station fell in less than 2 hours. Shocked gasps filled the chamber. Counselor Vesh floated above her seat. She was a crystalline being from Praxis Prime. Her body glowed angry red. How did this happen? Vesh demanded. We had 3 full battle fleets protecting that station. All destroyed, Trell replied. He activated the holographic display. Images appeared above the table. Massive alien ships tore through space stations. The bioships were huge. Each one was the size of a small moon. The vagrant swarm is not raiding anymore. This is a full invasion. The council chamber erupted into chaos. Everyone started talking at once. Some representatives stood up and shouted. Others made calls to their homeworlds. The fear was spreading like a disease. For 3 full days, the council argued. Military leaders presented battle plans. Every simulation was run through the computers. Every single one ended the same way. Defeat, total defeat. Admiral Kess slammed his lower arms on the table. He was a Velcrin with 4 arms and battle scars covering his body. We need help from the core worlds. We must pull back all border fleets immediately. That would leave 6 other sectors unprotected, another admiral objected. Then what is your solution? Kess roared. We are losing entire planets every single day. A smaller figure stood up in the back of the chamber. His name was June. He was the ambassador from Earth. Humans had only joined the Galactic Council 6 months ago. Most representatives barely noticed him. Maybe Earth can help, June said quietly. The chamber went completely silent. Then someone started laughing. The laughter spread quickly. Soon half the council was laughing at the human. Trell tried to be polite. No offense, Ambassador June, but your species only learned to travel faster than light 6 months ago. You have 12 ships, maybe 13. The vagrant swarm has thousands of ships. Your offer is appreciated but not realistic. We have 13 ships, June confirmed with a small smile. We finished building the last one yesterday. More laughter filled the room. Counselor Vesh's crystalline body flickered with amused colors. Please understand, Ambassador. Earth is classified as a Class 7 death world. Your people are impressive survivors, but you lack technology. You lack experience. You lack everything needed for war on this scale. June kept smiling. His calm expression never changed. With respect, Counselor, you do not know what humans can do when someone threatens us. Give us the coordinates of the vagrant swarm. Let us try. Admiral Kess studied the human carefully. Something about the way June stood caught his attention. There was no fear in the human's eyes. Only confidence. Strange confidence for someone so small and weak-looking. You understand this is a suicide mission? Kess asked seriously. We are not expecting you to win. We just need someone to slow them down, buy time for civilian evacuations. We understand completely, June replied. And you would still go? Without any hesitation. The council took a vote. 43 members voted yes. 4 voted no. Earth was authorized to send ships to the front lines. Most council members thought it was meaningless. A nice gesture from eager newcomers who did not understand real danger. As June left the chamber, he heard the whispers behind him. Poor humans. They have no idea what they are walking into. They will all die quickly. What the Galactic Council did not understand was simple. Earth had not sent a regular diplomat as their ambassador. Commander June had served 15 years in Terran Special Forces before becoming an ambassador. He knew war. He understood combat. He had seen real battle. The message June sent back to Earth was short and direct. The galaxy needs help. They are losing badly. What is humanity's response? The answer came back from Earth within 10 minutes. Just 3 words. Already en route. The Terran fleet began moving toward the war zone. Far away in vagrant space, Admiral Vorn watched another colony burn on his view screens. His species had conquered 60 different galaxies. This galaxy would fall just like all the others. It always happened the same way. Status report, Vorn commanded in his thick, gurgling voice. The prey species have pulled back their fleets, his officer Wrath reported. They are gathering around their home worlds. Standard defensive behavior. They will fight. They will lose. We will consume them slowly. Any unusual activity? Vorn asked. One thing. A small fleet is approaching from the inner territories. 13 ships. Unknown design. Vorn's body rippled with amusement. Send a patrol cluster. Destroy them. I want no delays in our advance schedule. Wrath hesitated for a moment. Commander, the biological readings from those ships are very unusual. High stress hormones. Elevated aggression levels. The readings are almost off our measurement scales. They are afraid, Vorn said dismissively. Fear is good. It makes them weak. Send the patrol cluster. Eliminate the threat, then continue the invasion. But Wrath was wrong about something important. Those stress hormones were not from fear. Humans had evolved on Earth, a planet that tried to kill them every single day. Dangerous weather, predator animals, diseases, disasters. Everything on Earth was deadly. Those biological readings showed something else. Humans preparing for battle. When humans went to war, they went completely. No holding back, no mercy. Just pure focused violence. The Terran destroyer Indomitable floated in deep space. Its hull was painted completely black. Minimal markings. It looked dangerous even when standing still. Captain Day stood on the bridge. She watched the sensors carefully. 30 vagrant bioships appeared on the screens. Each one could destroy a moon. Captain, they are sending us a message, an Officer Hana reported from the communications station. Play it, Day ordered. An alien voice came through the speakers. It sounded wet and predatory. Unknown vessels. You have entered vagrant territory. Surrender your ships immediately. Prepare to be processed and consumed, Day smiled. It was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of a predator. This is Captain Day of the Terran Defense Fleet. You are ordered to withdraw from Galactic Council space immediately. Alien laughter gurgled through the speakers. Foolish prey species. We have consumed civilizations that existed before your son was born. Stand down or be completely destroyed. Negative, Day replied coldly. We are giving you one single chance. Retreat now. After this moment, we are coming through you. The alien stopped laughing. You dare threaten us? You have 13 ships. We have 30 ships here. Behind us are thousands more. What can you possibly hope to achieve? Day leaned forward in her command chair. Her eyes were hard as steel. We are going to show you what happens when you threaten Earth. Helm, move forward. All ships' weapons are free to fire. Let's teach these things that humans are apex predators too. The alien tried to respond, but Day cut the communication channel. Around her, the crew moved with perfect precision. No fear, no panic. They had trained their entire lives for this exact moment. Captain, Officer Kwan said quietly from Tactical. We are seriously outnumbered here. I know, Day acknowledged. She pulled up the tactical display showing all enemy ships. But we have something they do not have. We have been fighting to survive since we lived in caves. This is what humans do best. We fight, we survive, we win. The Terran fleet began accelerating toward the enemy. Behind them was 3 months of Earth's complete military production. Every weapon, every tactic, every lesson learned from 10,000 years of human warfare. And most important of all, they had the will to fight. The determination that only came from a species that had clawed its way to the top of the deadliest food chain in the entire sector. The vagrant patrol cluster moved to intercept. They had superior numbers. They had bigger ships. They had conquered 60 galaxies. They had never lost a battle. But they had never fought Deathworlders before. They had never faced humans in combat. They had never experienced what it meant to fight a species that refused to quit. A species that would rather die than surrender. A species that had evolved in hell and learned to call it home. The first human missiles launched. They were not elegant energy weapons like the galaxy preferred. They were crude kinetic weapons. Solid metal wrapped around fusion warheads. Weapons designed by a species that understood violence at the most basic level. The missiles struck like hammers from the gods. The vagrant shields were designed to deflect energy beams. They were completely useless against solid projectiles moving at incredible speeds. 3 vagrant bioships simply exploded, gone in seconds. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, alarms started blaring. Tactical displays lit up showing the battle at the outer territories. The Terran fleet has engaged the vagrant patrol cluster, an aide reported nervously. Counselor Vesh floated closer to the displays. This will end quickly. At least those brave humans will buy us a few hours. But something unexpected was happening on the screens. Human missiles were tearing through vagrant ships like they were made. The 9 remaining Terran ships moved through vagrant space like silent ghosts. Captain Day studied the tactical display on her bridge. The enemy territory stretched out before them. Vast, dark, dangerous. Sensor sweep complete, Officer Kwan reported. Detecting multiple vagrant fleet positions. Looks like they are pulling back to defensive formations. Day nodded slowly. They are scared. Good. Fear makes people make mistakes. Officer Hana turned from her station. Captain, we are receiving transmissions from the vagrant fleet. They are calling for reinforcements. Lots of reinforcements. How many ships are they calling? Dai asked. At least 300? Maybe more. The bridge crew exchanged glances. 300 ships against 9. The odds were terrible, but nobody looked afraid. They looked determined. Let them call, Day said calmly. By the time those ships arrive, our main fleet will be here. Meanwhile, we have work to do. On the other side of vagrant space, Admiral Vorn stood in his command chamber. His body was trembling, something he had never experienced before. His species did not feel fear. They were the predators. They were the hunters. But now something had changed. Report on the patrol cluster, Vorn demanded. Wrath approached slowly. His tentacles were drooping. All 30 ships destroyed. No survivors. The enemy suffered minimal losses. How is that possible? Vorn's voice was sharp. Our bioships are nearly indestructible. Our shields can withstand any energy weapon. They did not use energy weapons, Commander. They used solid projectiles, kinetic weapons moving at extreme velocities. Our shields were useless against them. Vorn was silent for a long moment. In 60 galaxies across thousands of years, the vagrant swarm had never encountered this problem. They had adapted to every weapon type, every defense, every strategy, but this was new. Pull all forward fleets back, Vorn ordered. Form a defensive wall. I want every available ship between us and those humans. Commander, we outnumber them vastly. Why are we retreating? Vorn turned to face his officer. Because those are not prey. I do not know what they are, but they are not prey, and until I understand them better, we defend. Send a message to High Command. Tell them we need guidance. Back on Earth, Fleet Admiral Park stood in the command center. Massive screens showed the entire war zone. Green dots represented human ships. Red dots were vagrant forces. There were far more red dots. Status of the Indomitable Group? Park asked. They have engaged and destroyed a vagrant patrol cluster, an officer reported. 9 ships remaining. They are pushing deeper into enemy territory. Captain Day is aggressive, Park observed. But effective. What about our main fleet? Ready to deploy, Admiral. 200 ships. All crews are at battle stations. We can launch within the hour. Park studied the tactical map. The vagrant swarm controlled a huge area of space. Their forces were massive, but they were starting to pull back, starting to defend instead of attack. That was interesting. Launch the fleet, Park ordered. Set course for Captain Day's position, and send a message to the Galactic Council. Tell them Earth is coming in force. The launch bays of Earth opened. One by one, warships emerged, destroyers, cruisers, carriers, battle cruisers. Each one built with one purpose. War. They carried the weapons of a species that had perfected violence over thousands of years. On the lead ship, the defiant Commander Minho watched Earth shrink behind them. He had spent 20 years in the military, had fought in 3 different conflicts on Earth. But this was different. This was humanity's first real war in space. All ships reporting ready, his tactical officer reported. Good, Minho replied. Set course for the front lines. Maximum speed. The Indomitable Group is outnumbered. They need support. Sir, at maximum speed we will arrive in 72 hours. Then we better not waste time. Engage. The Terran fleet jumped into faster-than-light travel. Behind them, Earth continued its work. More ships were being built. More weapons manufactured. More soldiers trained. Humanity was mobilizing for total war. In the Galactic Council chamber, Ambassador June stood before the full assembly. This time nobody was laughing. Every representative watched him with new respect. Some with fear. Ambassador June, Counselor Vesh began. Your fleet's performance was remarkable. But we must discuss the larger situation. The vagrant swarm has vast numbers. Can Earth really stand against them? Earth does not fight alone, June replied. We fight with the Council. We fight with all member species. Together we are stronger. Admiral Kess activated a holographic display. We have been analyzing the human combat tactics. Your aggressive attack patterns, your kinetic weapons, your willingness to sacrifice ships through ramming attacks. It is all very unconventional. Unconventional, June agreed. But effective. The galaxy has fought the same way for thousands of years. Energy weapons, shield technology, predictable formations. The vagrant swarm adapted to all of it. So we changed the rules. How did you know kinetic weapons would work? Another counselor asked. June smiled slightly. Because shields are designed to disperse energy, not stop solid matter moving at high speed. It is basic physics. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best solution. And the ramming attacks? Vesh questioned. You sacrificed an entire ship and crew. The crew evacuated to escape pods before impact, June explained. We recovered most of them. The ship itself was already heavily damaged. Better to use it as a weapon than let it drift uselessly, the council members whispered among themselves. The human approach to war was brutal, direct, efficient, nothing was wasted. Every asset was used to maximum effect. We want to coordinate our forces with yours, Admiral Kess stated. Will you share your tactical knowledge? Of course, June replied. But understand something. Human tactics work for humans because of who we are. We are from a death world. We think differently, act differently. Other species may not be able to replicate our methods. What makes humans so different? Trell asked. June was quiet for a moment. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us constantly. Predators hunted us. Weather destroyed our homes. Diseases killed millions. We learned to be aggressive, to adapt quickly, to never give up. Every human carries that legacy in their genes. When we fight with everything we have. That sounds exhausting, Vesh commented. It is, June admitted, but it keeps us alive. And now it will keep the galaxy alive too. Back in vagrant space, Captain Day's fleet had found another target. A vagrant supply convoy. 20 transport ships protected by 15 warships. All ships, attack pattern Delta, Day ordered. Hit them fast. Hit them hard. Do not let them call for help. The Terran ships split into 3 groups. They attacked from different angles simultaneously. The vagrant warships tried to respond, but they were too slow. Too predictable. Human missiles tore through the convoy. Transporters exploded. Warships broke apart. In 15 minutes, the entire convoy was destroyed. Casualties? Day asked. Minor damage to the soul, no deaths. 3 injured. Good. Set course for the next target. Keep moving. Keep them off balance. Officer Hana looked concerned. Captain, we are deep in enemy territory. If they surround us, we could be trapped. Let them try, Day replied with confidence. We are faster, more maneuverable. By the time they organize a response, we will be somewhere else. This is guerrilla warfare. Hit and run. Never stay still. The Terran ships vanished into the darkness of space. Behind them, more vagrant assets burned. Admiral Vorn received the reports with growing anger. Another convoy lost. More ships destroyed. The humans were like insects, biting, stinging, impossible to catch. How many ships do they have in our territory? Vorn demanded. Only 9, Wrath reported. But they move constantly. They strike and disappear. We cannot predict their movements. 9 ships are causing this much damage. Yes, Commander. And there are more coming. Our intelligence reports 200 additional human ships en route. Vorn's body went rigid. 200 ships. If 9 could cause this much chaos, what could 200 do? Contact High Command again, Vorn ordered. Tell them we need immediate reinforcements. Tell them these humans are not like anything we have faced before. Tell them we are in serious trouble. The message was sent. Deep in vagrant territory, the High Command received it with disbelief. The mighty swarm, conquerors of 60 galaxies asking for help against a species they had never heard of before. But they sent the reinforcements anyway. 500 ships, a massive armada. It would take them 6 days to arrive. 6 days for the vagrant forces to hold the line against Earth's assault. They did not know if 6 days would be enough. On the Indomitable, Captain Day received a transmission from Fleet Admiral Park. Captain, the main fleet will arrive at your position in 60 hours. Your orders are to continue harassment operations. Keep the enemy distracted. Keep them afraid. You have done excellent work. Thank you, Admiral, Day replied. We will continue the mission. After the transmission ended, Day looked at her crew. They were tired, running on minimal sleep, eating quick meals between battles. but their eyes were still sharp. Still focused. We hold for 60 more hours, Day announced. Then we show these aliens what a real Earth fleet can do. Until then, we make them regret ever coming to this galaxy. The crew responded with determined nods, no cheers. No. The vagrant high command chamber was filled with tension. Fleet commanders from across the swarm gathered in the massive bioorganic space. Admiral Vorn stood before them all. His body language showed submission. Defeat. Explain this disaster, High Commander Rock demanded. His voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. You assured us this galaxy would fall easily. Now you request 500 reinforcement ships. These humans are different, Vorn replied carefully. They do not fight like any species we have encountered. They use primitive kinetic weapons that bypass our shields. They attack in unpredictable patterns. They sacrifice themselves without hesitation. They are a species that achieved space travel only months ago, another commander argued. How can they threaten the swarm? Because they come from a death world, Vorn explained. Class 7 designation. Every instinct they have is built for survival and combat. They are natural warriors. Rock's tentacles writhed with anger. We have conquered species from death worlds before. What makes these different? An old voice spoke from the shadows. Everyone turned. The oracle emerged slowly. She was ancient, older than anyone in the chamber. Her body was scarred from 1,000 battles across multiple galaxies. I have encountered their kind before, the oracle said quietly.
Long ago.
In a distant galaxy, we called them the Endless Fighters. They never stopped, never surrendered. We lost 30% of our forces before we retreated. Silence filled the chamber. The swarm never retreated, never. You are saying we should abandon this conquest? Rock asked carefully. I am saying we should prepare for heavy losses, the oracle replied. These humans will not stop until we are destroyed or they are. There is no middle ground with their kind. On the bridge of the Defiant, Commander Minho watched as the Terran main fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel. 200 ships appeared in perfect formation. The sight was magnificent, terrifying. All ships reporting in, his communications officer stated. Fleet is at full combat readiness. Contact Captain Day, Minho ordered. Let her know the cavalry has arrived. Moments later, Day's face appeared on the screen. She looked exhausted, but her eyes were bright with fierce determination. Commander Minho, good to see you, Day said with a tired smile. We have been keeping them busy. Your reports have been impressive, Captain. 9 ships causing this much damage. High Command is very pleased. We did what was necessary, but we are running low on missiles and crew is exhausted. Good timing on your arrival. Pull your ships back for resupply and rest, Minho ordered. The main fleet will take over from here. You and your people have earned it. Day shook her head firmly. With respect, Commander, we are staying. My crew wants to see this through. We started this fight. We will finish it. Minho studied her for a moment, then nodded with understanding. Very well, Captain. Welcome to the main battle group. Prepare for full-scale assault. The combined Terran fleet began moving deeper into vagrant territory. 209 ships, each one armed with weapons designed by humanity's best military minds. Each crew trained to the highest standards. Each soldier ready to fight. In the Galactic Council observation room, representatives watched the human fleet on long-range sensors. Nobody spoke. The sight of so many warships moving in perfect coordination was intimidating even to allies. They built all of those in 6 months? Trell whispered in amazement. Actually 3 months, Ambassador June corrected. The first 3 months after joining the council, we were just observing, learning, planning. When we learned about the vagrant threat, we went into full production mode. How is that possible? Counselor Vesh asked. It takes our shipyards years to build a single capital ship. Earth has experience with rapid military production, June explained. In our history, we have had global wars. We learned to convert entire economies to war production. Factories that made cars started making tanks. Shipyards that built cargo vessels built warships. Every resource focused on one goal. Admiral Kess was studying the human fleet composition carefully. Your ships are smaller than traditional battle cruisers. Why? Smaller ships are faster, more maneuverable. Harder to hit, June replied. We favor speed and numbers over size. A single massive ship is an easy target. 100 small ships attacking from different angles is a nightmare to defend against. Your tactics are sound, Kess admitted. Unconventional but sound. On the other side of the galaxy, the vagrant reinforcement fleet arrived. 500 massive bioships, each one carrying enough firepower to level a planet. Commander Thax led the fleet. He was a veteran of 1,000 campaigns. Status of the human fleet? Thax demanded. They have consolidated their forces, an officer reported. 209 ships. They are advancing toward our defensive line. 200 ships against 500. Thax mused. Plus Admiral Vorn's 300 ships. We outnumber them 4-1. This should be over quickly. But even as he spoke, doubt crept into his mind. The reports from Vorn had been disturbing. Ships destroyed in minutes. Entire convoys eliminated. These humans fought with a ferocity that seemed impossible. All ships battle formation, Thax ordered. We will crush them with overwhelming force. Show them what happens when they challenge the swarm. The two fleets moved toward each other. The distance closed. 10,000 kilometers. 5,000. 1,000. On the Defiant, Commander Minho watched the enemy fleet appear on sensors. The vagrant forces were massive, intimidating, but he felt no fear. Only cold calculation. All ships assume attack formation Delta 7, Minho ordered calmly. Prepare missile batteries. Target their command ships first. I want their leadership eliminated immediately. The Terran fleet spread out into a wide formation. Not the tight defensive formation the galaxy preferred. Instead, they scattered across thousands of kilometers of space, making it impossible for the enemy to target them all at once. Enemy fleet is in range. Tactical reported. Fire. Minho ordered. Thousands of missiles launched simultaneously from the human fleet. They streaked through space like a deadly swarm. The vagrant forces raised their shields confidently, shields that had protected them through countless battles. The missiles struck with devastating force. Kinetic warheads punched through shields like they were not there. Fusion explosions tore bioships apart. In the first 30 seconds, 20 vagrant vessels were destroyed. Commander Thax watched in horror as his fleet took massive damage. Return fire. All weapons. Destroy them. The vagrant fleet unleashed everything. Energy beams, bioweapons, acid projectiles. A wall of destruction that should have eliminated any enemy. But the human ships were already moving. Scattering. Dodging. Their smaller size and superior speed let them avoid most of the incoming fire. Some ships were hit. Some took damage. But the fleet stayed intact. Again, Minho ordered coldly. Hit them again. Another wave of missiles launched. More vagrant ships exploded. The enemy formation began to break apart. Panic was setting in. Captain Day led her group of 9 ships in a flanking attack. They came from the side while the main fleet attacked head-on. Classic pack hunter tactics. Confuse the prey. Attack from multiple angles. Target their engines, Day ordered. Cripple them. Make them easy targets for the main fleet. Her ships focused their fire on vagrant propulsion systems. Ships began drifting helplessly, unable to maneuver. Easy prey for follow-up attacks. On the vagrant command ship, Thax was sweating through his skin pores. His fleet was being torn apart. 4-1 numerical advantage meant nothing. The humans fought like demons. Pull back, Thax ordered desperately. Reform at the secondary defensive line. Commander, if we retreat, we leave Admiral Vorn's forces exposed. Admiral Vorn's forces are already lost, Thax replied grimly. Look at the tactical display. They are being systematically destroyed. If we stay, we die too. Pull back, now. The vagrant reinforcement fleet began retreating, but retreat in space is difficult. It takes time to turn massive ships around, time the humans did not give them. The Terran fleet pressed the attack mercilessly. Ship after ship fell to human weapons, the space around them filled with debris and escape pods. The vagrant swarm was learning a painful lesson. Numbers alone did not guarantee victory. Admiral Vorn watched from his command ship as the reinforcement fleet fled. His own forces were in chaos. Half his ships were destroyed or disabled. The rest were fighting desperately just to survive. All ships, full retreat, Vorn ordered. His voice was hollow, defeated. Fall back to the inner territories. We cannot win this battle. But retreating was easier said than done. The humans hunted down every ship that tried to flee. They showed no mercy, no quarter. Every vagrant vessel they caught was destroyed. In 3 hours of brutal combat, the vagrant forces lost 400 ships. The humans lost 32. The battle was not even close. On the Defiance Bridge, Commander Minho surveyed the battlefield. Floating wreckage stretched for thousands of kilometers, but there was no celebration. No cheering, just quiet professional satisfaction. Damage report, Minho requested. 32 ships lost, 47 ships damaged. Casualties are being calculated. Several thousand wounded, maybe 500 dead. Minho closed his eyes briefly. 500 people would. The vagrant high command was in complete chaos. Reports flooded in from across their territory. Losses mounting. Fleets retreating. Panic spreading through their ranks like a disease. High Commander Rock stood before the strategic display. Red markers showed human fleet positions. They were everywhere, moving fast, striking hard, disappearing before reinforcements could arrive. How many ships have we lost? Rock demanded. The oracle approached slowly. Her ancient form seemed to have aged even more in recent days. Over 600 vessels destroyed. Another 300 damaged beyond repair. Casualties in the millions. In how long? 12 days since the humans arrived in force. Rock's body trembled with rage and fear. 12 days. The humans have been here 12 days and we have lost nearly 1,000 ships. They fight unlike any species we have encountered. Admiral Vorn added quietly. He had barely survived the last battle. They coordinate perfectly. They adapt instantly. They never hesitate. We still outnumber them, Rock insisted. We have thousands of ships remaining. Numbers mean nothing if we cannot hit them, the oracle replied. They are too fast, too unpredictable. By the time we respond to one attack, they have already struck somewhere else. Rock turned to his commanders. We need a new strategy, something they cannot predict. Ideas? Silence filled the chamber. Nobody had answers. The swarm had always won through overwhelming force. Superior numbers. Brutal aggression. But none of that worked against the humans. Commander Thax finally spoke. We should negotiate. Offer a ceasefire. Pull back from council space. The swarm does not negotiate, Rock roared. We conquer or we die. Then we will die, Thax replied bluntly. Because we cannot win this war. Not against them. On the Terran flagship Defiant, Commander Minho was planning the next operation. His senior officers gathered around the tactical table. Holographic displays showed vagrant territory. Intelligence reports suggest the vagrant main command is located here. Captain Day pointed to a system deep in enemy space. The Korvax system. Heavily fortified, maybe 1,000 ships defending it. That is their headquarters? Minho asked, confirmed. If we strike there, we cut the head off the snake. The rest of their forces will collapse without central coordination. It is also a trap, Lieutenant Borum observed. They must know we want that target. They will be waiting. Minho studied the display carefully. You are right. It is definitely a trap. But sometimes you have to walk into a trap to end a war. The question is how we do it smartly. We could split the fleet, Day suggested. Send half to attack the Korvax system. The other half hits their supply lines simultaneously. Force them to choose which to defend. They will defend their headquarters, Borum argued. That is where their leadership is. Exactly, Day replied with a slight smile. They defend with everything they have, leaving their supply lines exposed. We cut off their fuel, ammunition, food supplies. Even if they win the battle, they lose the war. Minho nodded slowly. It is risky. We would be fighting on two fronts against superior numbers. War is risk, Day stated simply. But doing nothing is worse. The longer this drags on, the more people die on both sides. Agreed, Minho decided. We split the fleet. Captain Day, you take 100 ships. Hit every supply depot, fuel station, and resource center you can find. Burn it all. I will take the other 100 ships plus reinforcements from the Council fleet and assault Korvax system. When do we move? 48 hours. That gives us time to resupply and brief all commanders. This will be the decisive battle. Back on Earth, Fleet Admiral Park received the battle plans. She studied them carefully in her office. The strategy was aggressive, dangerous, typical human thinking. Her aide entered quietly. Admiral, you have a communication from the Galactic Council. They are concerned about Commander Minho's plan. Of course they are, Park replied without looking up. They think we are being too aggressive. Too risky. Are we? Park finally looked at her aide. War is always risky. But Commander Minho understands something the Council does not. You cannot win by playing defense. You win by attacking, by taking the fight to the enemy, by making them react to you instead of the other way around. The Council wants us to consolidate our forces, Defend the border worlds. The Council has been defending for months and losing ground every day, Park stated firmly. We have been attacking for 12 days and the enemy is in full retreat. Which strategy is working? The aide smiled slightly. Ours, exactly. Send a message to Commander Minho. Tell him Earth Command approves his plan. Execute at his discretion. And send him 50 more ships. If we are going to do this, we do it right. In the Galactic Council chamber, Admiral Kess was arguing with other military leaders. The human plan is sound. We should support it with our forces. It is madness, another admiral protested. Assaulting the Vagrant headquarters directly. We will lose thousands of ships. We are already losing thousands of ships sitting here defending, Kess shot back. At least this plan offers a chance to end the war. Councillor Vesh floated between them. What does Ambassador June say about this? All eyes turned to the human ambassador. June had been listening quietly. Now he stood to address the council. Earth did not ask for your permission, June said calmly. We informed you out of courtesy. Our fleet will execute this plan regardless of your decision. However, if you want to help end this war quickly, your support would be valuable. You would attack without us? Trell asked with surprise. If necessary, yes. Earth fights to protect the Council. But we will not let politics interfere with military necessity. Commander Minho believes this plan will work. I trust his judgment. What if he is wrong? Vesh questioned. Then many people will die, June replied honestly. But many people are dying now anyway. At least this way we have a chance to end it. Admiral Kess slammed his fists on the table. The ambassador is right. I am committing 100 council ships to the assault on Korvax. Who else will join? Slowly, reluctantly, other admirals began volunteering forces. By the end of the meeting, 200 council ships had been pledged to support the human offensive. This will be the largest combined fleet operation in galactic history, Vesh observed. 400 ships attacking one target. 400 ships ending a war, June corrected. There is a difference. 2 days later, the fleets moved out. Captain Day led her strike force toward Vagrant supply lines, 100 human ships accompanied by 50 council vessels. Their mission was simple: destroy everything that kept the Vagrant forces functioning. First target is a fuel depot 3 systems from here. Day briefed her captains. Intelligence suggests minimal defenses. We hit fast, destroy it completely, and move to the next target. We do not stop. We do not slow down. We hit them until they have nothing left. The fleet jumped into faster than light travel. When they emerged at the fuel depot, they found exactly what intelligence predicted. 20 defense ships. Easy pickings, all ships weapons free, Day ordered. Eliminate the defenders. Then destroy the depot. The battle lasted 10 minutes. The Vagrant defenders never had a chance. The fuel depot was reduced to scrap metal and frozen gases. Next target, Day commanded coldly. Keep moving. Meanwhile, Commander Minho approached the Korvax system with 300 ships. 200 council vessels accompanied his 100 human warships. It was the largest fleet ever assembled in this sector of space. Sensors detecting massive Vagrant presence, Tactical reported. Approximately 1,000 ships in defensive formation around the command station. They were expecting us, Minho observed calmly. Good. That means Captain Day's group will face lighter resistance at the supply lines. Sir, we are outnumbered more than 3 to 1. I know. But they are defending a fixed position. We can attack from any angle we choose. That gives us the advantage. A transmission came through from the Vagrant command station. High Commander Rock's image appeared on screen. Human Commander, you are outnumbered and outgunned. Surrender now and we will allow your forces to retreat. Minho smiled coldly. High Commander Rock, you have invaded Council space, killed thousands of innocent beings, threatened Earth's allies. We are here to end that. Surrender now and we will spare your forces. Rock's body language showed fury. You dare offer me surrender? We will crush you. You are welcome to try. But know this. Every minute you fight, Captain Day's fleet is destroying your supply lines. Even if you win this battle, your forces will starve. We'll run out of fuel. We'll be stranded in space. You have already lost. You just do not know it yet. Rock cut the transmission. Minho turned to his bridge crew. All ships attack Formation Omega. Hit them with everything we have. The combined fleet surged forward. Thousands of missiles launched simultaneously. The Vagrant forces returned fire with overwhelming force. Space lit up with weapons fire from both sides. But the human ships moved like dancers, weaving through the enemy fire. The Council ships followed human leads, learning their tactics in real time. Together they struck at weak points in the Vagrant formation. Focus fire on their command ships, Minho ordered. Take out their leadership and coordination. Missiles concentrated on the largest Vagrant vessels. Shields buckled under sustained bombardment. Hull plating melted. Ships broke apart. The battle raged for hours. Both sides took heavy losses. Commander Minho stared at the communication screen. High Commander Rock's image flickered before him. The Vagrant leader looked defeated. Broken. His once proud posture was now slumped with exhaustion. You wish to discuss surrender? Minho asked carefully. Yes, Rock replied quietly. We cannot continue this war. You have destroyed our supply lines. Our fleets are scattered. Our people are dying. We ask for terms. Minho was silent for a long moment. Around him his bridge crew watched tensely. This was the moment they had fought for, but victory felt hollow with so many dead on both sides. Stand down all your forces, Minho ordered. Power down weapons. Recall any ship still engaged in combat. Once I confirm full compliance, we will discuss terms. Rock nodded slowly. It will be done. The transmission ended. Minho turned to his communications officer. Contact Captain Day. Tell her to cease all offensive operations. The enemy is surrendering. Across Vagrant space, the fighting slowly stopped. Ships that had been trying to kill each other moments ago now drifted in wary silence. The sudden quiet felt strange after weeks of constant battle. Captain Day received the order while preparing to assault another supply depot. Her fleet had destroyed over 100 targets in just 3 days. Now they would stop. All ships hold position, Day commanded. Weapons on standby, but do not fire unless fired upon. The war is ending. On her bridge, Officer Hana looked relieved. Finally! I was starting to forget what peace felt like. Peace is not here yet, Day cautioned. We still need to negotiate terms. Make sure they actually follow through. Wars do not end with one conversation. They end with careful diplomacy. Back on Earth, Fleet Admiral Park received news of the Vagrant surrender. She immediately contacted the Galactic Council. Within hours, a special emergency session was called. The council chamber was packed. Every representative attended. The mood was cautiously optimistic. After months of fear and death, there was finally hope. Ambassador June stood before the assembly. The Vagrant Swarm has requested terms of surrender. Commander Minho is currently negotiating on behalf of Earth and the Council. We need to decide what those terms should be. Complete and total surrender, one counselor demanded. They must disarm completely. Give up all territory. Pay reparations for damages. They should be tried for war crimes, another added. Thousands died because of their invasion. Counselor Vesh raised her crystalline form for attention. We must be careful. If we are too harsh, they may resume fighting out of desperation. If we are too lenient, they may attack again in the future. Admiral Kess spoke up. I have been coordinating with Commander Minho. He suggests the following terms. The Vagrant Swarm withdraws from all council space. They disarm their military to defensive levels only. They provide intelligence on their territory to prevent future conflicts. And they pay limited reparations to rebuild damaged colonies. Limited reparations? Someone objected. They destroyed entire worlds. They are also facing starvation, Kess replied. Their supply infrastructure is destroyed. If we demand too much, their entire population could collapse. That is genocide. We are not monsters. June nodded in agreement. Earth believes in justice, not revenge. We punish those responsible. We prevent future aggression. But we do not destroy entire civilizations. That makes us no better than them. The debate continued for hours. Finally, terms were agreed upon. The Vagrant Swarm would withdraw completely from Council space. Reduce their military to 1/10 of current size. Allow Council observers in their territory. Provide resources to help rebuild damaged colonies. And most importantly, stand trial for war crimes against their leadership. Ambassador June transmitted these terms to Commander Minho. The Council has decided. These are our conditions for peace, non-negotiable. Minho received the terms and presented them to High Commander Rock. The Vagrant leader read through each point carefully. His tentacles drooped lower with each line. These terms are harsh, Rock finally said. They could be much worse, Minho replied honestly. Many on the council wanted your complete destruction. These terms allow your people to survive, to rebuild, to have a future. All we ask is that you never threaten the galaxy again. What of me? What of the High Command? You will stand trial for war crimes. If found guilty, you will face punishment. What that punishment is will be decided by an independent court, not by Earth, not by the Council, by neutral judges who will examine the evidence fairly. Rock was quiet for a long time. I accept these terms. On behalf of the vagrant swarm, I agree to full surrender under these conditions. Then order all your forces to stand down. The war is over. News of the surrender spread across the galaxy within hours, on every council world being celebrated in the streets. The nightmare was finally ending. The vagrant threat was eliminated, but on Earth the celebrations were more subdued. People gathered in public spaces, watched the news broadcasts, hugged their loved ones, but there was also sadness. Over 3,000 Earth soldiers had died in the war. Thousands more were wounded. Every victory had a cost. Captain Day returned to Earth 3 weeks after the surrender. Her ship, the Indomitable, had survived the entire war despite being in almost every major battle. When she stepped off the ship, her family was waiting. Her mother embraced her tightly. We watched everything on the news. We were so worried. "I am okay, Mother," Day replied softly. "I am home now." Her younger brother Hyun looked at her with awe. "They are calling you a hero. You and your entire crew." "We did our duty," Day said simply. "Nothing more. The real heroes are the ones who did not come home." She visited the memorial wall later that day. Names of the fallen were inscribed on black stone. 3,247 names. Each one a person who had sacrificed everything. Day placed her hand on the wall. "We won," she whispered. "I hope it was worth it." In the Galactic Council headquarters, a formal peace treaty was signed. Representatives from Earth, the Council, and the vagrant swarm all attended. The ceremony was broadcast across the galaxy. High Commander Rock signed first. His tentacles trembled as he made his mark. Then came the Council representatives. Finally, Ambassador June signed for Earth. "Let this mark the end of hostilities," Councillor Vesh announced, "and the beginning of a new era of cooperation and peace." But everyone knew the real work was just beginning. The vagrant swarm needed to be monitored. Colonies needed to be rebuilt. Refugees needed homes. The wounded needed care. War might be over, but its consequences would last for years. Admiral Kess approached Ambassador June after the ceremony. "Your people changed everything. Before Earth arrived, we were losing. Now we have peace. The galaxy owes humanity a great debt." "We did what needed to be done," June replied. "But let us be clear about something. We did not fight for glory or conquest. We fought because it was right. Because innocent people needed protection. That is what Earth will always stand for." "I hope your people will stay engaged with the Council," Kess said. "We need your strategic thinking, your military expertise, your perspective." "We will stay," June assured him. "But we will also encourage the Council to build its own defensive capabilities. Earth cannot be the galaxy's protector forever. You must learn to protect yourselves." Months passed. The vagrant territories were slowly integrated into Council observation zones. War crime trials began. Evidence was presented. Witnesses testified. It was a long and painful process, but necessary for justice. High Commander Rock and 17 other senior vagrant leaders were found guilty of crimes against sentient beings. Their punishment was imprisonment for life, not execution. The Council believed in rehabilitation when possible, punishment when necessary, but never revenge. On Earth, society began returning to normal. Shipyards that had built warships started building colony ships and cargo vessels. Factories that made weapons made tools and machinery. Soldiers returned to their families and civilian lives, but Earth also remained vigilant. The military was not disbanded. Ships remained on patrol. Training continued. Because humanity had learned a valuable lesson. Peace was precious but fragile. It needed to be protected. Captain Day was promoted to admiral and given command of Earth's border defense fleet. On her first day, she gathered her senior officers for a briefing. "We are not at war anymore," Day told them. "But we must never forget what war taught us. We must stay ready, stay trained, stay sharp, because somewhere out there another threat might emerge, and when it does, Earth must be prepared." "Do you think there will be another war?" a young officer asked. "I hope not," Day replied honestly. "I truly hope not. War is terrible. It destroys lives and families. But hope is not a strategy. Preparation is. So we prepare, we train. We stay ready. And we pray we never have to fight again." In the vagrant territories, the Oracle was dying, her ancient body finally giving out after thousands of years. But before she passed, she recorded one final message. To future generations, the oracle's voice was weak but clear. We encountered a species called humans. We thought them weak because they were small. We thought them primitive because they were new to space. We were wrong about everything. They defeated us not through superior numbers or technology. They defeated us through determination, through unity, through absolute refusal to surrender. Learn from our mistakes. 5 years had passed since the war ended. The galaxy had changed in ways nobody could have predicted. Earth was no longer the newcomer species that everyone laughed at. Now they were respected, sometimes feared, always taken seriously. Ambassador June stood in the rebuilt council chamber. The old one had been damaged during a vagrant attack early in the war. This new chamber was larger, more impressive, and it included a permanent seat for Earth at the main table. The council recognizes Ambassador June of Earth, Councillor Vesh announced. Her crystalline form now glowed with warm colors whenever she addressed the human representative. Thank you, Councillor, June replied. He stood and addressed the assembly. Earth has completed the training program for Council Defense Forces. 200 officers from 30 different species have graduated. They are now ready to return to their home fleets and implement what they learned. Admiral Kess stood up. The improvement in our military capabilities has been remarkable. Human tactical doctrine combined with our existing technology has made us far more effective. Pirate attacks have decreased by 80% in council space. What about the vagrant territories? Another counselor asked. Are they stable? Mostly, June answered. There have been some uprisings, some resistance to council oversight, but nothing we cannot manage. The vagrant people are adapting to their new reality. It takes time. Trell raised his 3 eyes toward June. There are rumors that Earth is building a new class of ship, larger than anything in your current fleet. Is this true? June nodded. It is true. We are building exploration vessels, not warships. Earth wants to expand into uncharted space, discover new worlds, make contact with unknown civilizations. We have learned much from this galaxy. Now we want to see what else is out there. Exploration is dangerous, Vesh cautioned. Unknown space could contain hostile species. That is why we are building strong ships with strong defenses, June explained. We hope for peaceful contact, but we prepare for anything. That is the human way. On Earth, construction of the new Explorer ships continued around the clock. The lead ship was called the Pioneer. It was 3 times larger than any warship Earth had built, designed for long-range missions. Built to be self-sufficient for years at a time. Admiral Day walked through the ship during a construction inspection. Workers swarmed over every section, installing systems, testing equipment, making sure everything worked perfectly. The ship will be ready for launch in 6 months, the chief engineer reported. All systems are ahead of schedule. Good, Day replied. Who do we have selected for the captain position? Commander Siwan. He has 15 years of experience. Served in the war, known for being diplomatic but firm, perfect for first contact situations. Day nodded approvingly. I want to meet him before launch. Make sure he understands the importance of this mission. Far from Earth, in a remote section of vagrant space, a secret meeting was taking place. Former vagrant commanders who had escaped prosecution gathered in a hidden base. They called themselves the Remnant, and they wanted revenge. The humans took everything from us, one commander hissed. Our territory, our pride, our freedom. We cannot let this stand, another spoke up. We do not have the resources to fight them directly. They are too strong. We need a different approach. An old vagrant warrior named Sek stepped forward. There are species beyond council space. Species the humans have not encountered. Some are very powerful, very aggressive. If we could convince them that Earth is a threat, they might attack. While the humans are busy fighting them, we rebuild our strength. That could take years, someone objected. We have time, Sek replied coldly. Revenge is best served slowly, carefully. We will plant the seeds now. Watch them grow, and when the moment is right, we strike. The Remnant agreed to the plan. Messages were sent to distant corners of the galaxy. Lies were spread about Earth, propaganda about human aggression, false reports of Earth planning to conquer all of known space. It was all fabrication, but some species believed it. On Earth, nobody knew about these hidden dangers. Life had returned to normal. Cities thrived. Art and culture flourished. Children grew up hearing stories about the war but never experiencing it themselves. Young Mina sat in her classroom learning about galactic history. Her teacher was explaining the war against the vagrant swarm. Earth joined the Galactic Council at a critical moment, the teacher said. Without human intervention, many worlds would have been destroyed. Over 3,000 Earth soldiers gave their lives to protect others. We honor their sacrifice every year on Unity Day. Mina raised her hand. Teacher, why did we fight? The vagrant swarm never attacked Earth directly. Because it was the right thing to do, the teacher replied. When you see someone being hurt, you help them. That is what being human means. We protect those who cannot protect themselves, even if it means we might get hurt, especially then. Courage means doing what is right even when it is dangerous. In the Council Diplomatic Corps, new ambassadors from Earth were making their mark. Ambassador Yunji had just negotiated a trade agreement with the Praxis Collective. Ambassador Taeyong had resolved a border dispute between two species that had been arguing for decades. Earth's reputation grew not just as warriors, but as peacemakers, mediators, problem solvers. Other species came to human diplomats for help with conflicts they could not resolve themselves. But in the shadows, the remnant continued their work. Seeds of doubt were planted in dozens of systems, whispers about Earth's true intentions, questions about whether humans could be trusted with so much military power. One species that listened carefully was the Krell Empire. They were a proud warrior culture from beyond Council space. They had been expanding their territory slowly for centuries, and they saw Earth as a potential rival. Krell High General Vex studied the reports about humanity. These humans defeated the vagrant swarm in months. A foe we have been fighting for years with limited success. They are either very capable or very lucky. Intelligence suggests capability, his advisor reported. They use unconventional tactics, aggressive strategies. They fight to win, not for honor or glory. Then they are dangerous, Vex concluded. We should test them, see if they are truly as formidable as reported. Back on Earth, Admiral Day received an unusual report. Krell ships had been spotted near Council borders. Not attacking, just observing, watching. What are they doing? Day wondered aloud to her staff. Unknown, her intelligence officer replied. The Krell Empire has never shown interest in Council space before. This is new behavior. Keep monitoring them. I want to know if they make any aggressive moves. The last thing we need is another war. But Day had a bad feeling. Something in her gut told her trouble was coming. She had learned to trust those instincts during the war. They had saved her life more than once. 6 months later, the Pioneer launched from Earth orbit. Thousands gathered to watch the massive ship depart. Captain Saiwan stood on the bridge as Earth fell away behind them. Set course for the outer rim, Saiwan ordered. Let's see what is out there waiting to be discovered. The Pioneer jumped to faster than light speed and disappeared from Earth's sensors. Their mission would last 5 years. 5 years of exploring unknown space, meeting new species, expanding humanity's knowledge of the universe. But 3 months into their journey, the Pioneer detected something unexpected. A massive debris field, hundreds of destroyed ships floating in space. All of them were Krell vessels. What could do this? The science officer wondered. These ships have heavy armor, advanced weapons. Whatever attacked them was incredibly powerful. Captain Saiwan studied the wreckage carefully, scanned for survivors, and find out what happened here. This could be important. They found one survivor, a Krell warrior named Torv. He was barely alive. The medical team worked for hours to stabilize him. When he finally woke up, his first words were a warning. Run, Torv gasped. Get away from here. They will come back. Who will come back? Saiwan asked gently. The Devourers, ancient machines, left over from a dead civilization. They attack anything they detect. Kill everything. We thought we could fight them. We were wrong. So wrong. Saiwan felt ice in his veins. Where are these Devourers now? Coming toward Council space. Maybe a year away. Maybe less. You must warn your people. Warn everyone. The Devourers do not negotiate. Do not retreat. They only destroy. The Pioneer immediately sent a priority message to Earth. The contents were classified, urgent, terrifying. A new threat was coming, one that made the vagrant swarm look harmless by comparison. Admiral Park received the message in the middle of the night. She read it 3 times to make sure she understood correctly. Then she activated the emergency protocols. Within hours, Earth's military was on full alert. Shipyards that had converted to civilian production started building warships again. Soldiers on leave were recalled to duty. The peaceful years were ending. Ambassador June called an emergency council session. We have received intelligence about a new threat. Ancient war machines called the Devourers. They are heading toward our space. We need to prepare immediately. The council erupted into chaos. Some representatives refused to believe it. Others panicked. A few demanded proof. We have a survivor from a Krell battle fleet, June explained. They encountered the Devourers 3 months